Hello viewers, welcome once again to another session in this channel, Joe Moy's channel. This is a channel that aims to focus upon reality in order for us to understand whether there are two different kinds of reality, or whether there is only one realm of reality and that the other one is an illusion. And I know that this may sound quite normal on the basis that from a material sense of reality, it appears very difficult for our mind to comprehend spirituality to a point where we think that we can only attain that realm of understanding when our mind detaches from the body in what is commonly regarded as death of the death of the body. But as I discussed and as I pointed out in the last video, we need to probe into the aspect of intelligence in order for us to understand what intelligence really is, and also to understand whether intelligence is truly the only reality that there is. In our last discussions, I mentioned to you that a lot of philosophers and even some of the scientists believe that the material sense of reality is an illusion, and that the only true form of reality is the reality of our intellectuality, of intelligence. But because we have not focused upon this aspect of understanding, it becomes very difficult for a layman to be able to comprehend and to also conceptualize this aspect of understanding, based on the fact that we have not been taught even in ways of properly utilizing our mind in what metaphysics regards as meditation. And when I talk about meditation, I'm not talking of the kind of meditation that we see from the Eastern religion, where you focus on nothingness and try to cleanse your mind and that sort of thing. I'm talking of meditation where you focus on the aspect of intelligence to a point where you start receiving insights that will be able to, or that enables you to change the way that you think, or the way that you understand about reality. Now, in one of my books that I am writing, I have shown a terminology that defines God as the infinite universal intelligence of the eternal absolute being, as what constitutes true God from a metaphysical perspective. And what I have then gone ahead to show is that most mainstream religions have deviated from the understanding and the worship of an infinite universal intelligence that we call as God, into an anthropomorphic, into a man-like God. And have as a result limited the aspect of what they are preaching as omnipresence, as infinite, as eternal. Now, my insights to you, my dear viewers and listeners, are based on a research that has been done over a period of 25 years, where I have probed into that aspect of understanding in order for me to come to a conclusion on whether God exists and whether God is intelligence, or whether he is a being that is sat somewhere that is away from the earth. And if that be the case, then it would actually show that that being that is far removed from the earth, in a different place that we call heaven, is not infinite. And if that kind of a being is not infinite, then it implies that he is not eternal. It also implies that he is not omnipresent. Ask me why. The reason why I say this is because the terminology that defines infinity implies everywhere in every way. And that is the true definition of omnipresence. If something is omnipresent, if this stone, if this ocean was omnipresent, we would not be having the show as we have today. We would not be having the edges. We would not be seeing the sky. It would imply that everything in every way is filled with water. And not just water, but the water that forms this ocean. It would imply that this ocean is the only reality that there is. There is no bottom where you have the rocks, where you have the fishes, where you have everything else. But it would imply that anything else within this infinite ocean would be in the quality, in the characteristics, as well as attributes of the ocean, just like a drop water that is removed from the ocean. Now, this would imply that there is no material sense, other material sense of reality. It would imply that there are no stones, there are no trees, there is no grass, there are no skies, there is no sun, there are no moons, there are no stars, there is nothing else. But in all the realm to infinity and for eternity, it is nothing else but this ocean. This is the true meaning of infinity. Infinity also occupies the aspect of being from an infinitude perspective. And when I talk of an infinitude perspective, I'm actually talking to the largest and beyond, to the largest without a limitation, and also to infinitesimal. And again, what I imply by the terminology infinitesimal is to the smallest aspect of being without coming to an end, which implies that from an infinitesimal, from the smallest element, there is nothing else in existence apart from the infinite ocean. And that in an infinitude aspect to the highest and for eternity, there is nothing else apart from the ocean. That is the meaning of infinity. It is also the meaning of omnipresence, because omnipresence is another terminology that defines infinity. It means all presence. It means occupying everything in every way. And if we are told that God is omnipresence, then it implies there cannot be another different realm of reality, such as what we see around us and what we see in the skies, through the stars, all over the material universe that we are told by scientists that occupies a diametrical circle, or a diameter that spans over 94 billion light years. And to show how large is 94 billion light years implies the period that light traveling at 300,000 kilometers a second takes to travel over a span of 94 billion years, which is huge. That is the diameter of the universe, and that is not all. We are also told that a huge and ginormous universe is constantly expanding. So if the universe is real and is expanding and is occupying space, then it actually nullifies the omnipresence of anything else, including God, including spirit, and including that is abstract, that is not seen by the eyes, that cannot be touched, that cannot be smelled, that the five common senses cannot conceptualize. And when we get to that, we are saddened because it implies that there is no hope for God. It implies that then there is no God, or even if he's there, he is not omnipresent. And if he's not omnipresent, then what is omnipresence? Or rather, where did he come from? Where did he begin? Will he have an end? Because that is not omnipresent, that is not infinite, must have had a beginning. That is not infinite must have an end. Because that has no beginning cannot be infinitesimal, cannot be smaller and smaller and smaller without coming to an end. That is not infinitude cannot be infinite because it does not enlarge to infinity. It has an end. And if we are talking of this aspect of something else having a beginning, something else having an end, then it implies that nothing is infinite. But then there is an oxymoronity or a contradiction in that statement. There is a contradiction because if, say for example, we say that God is a source of everything. Everything, as we are told, originates with God, is the creator of all that has been created. And we are saying that if this material sense of reality or universe is real, then it nullifies the omnipresence of God. Then it implies that he had a beginning as well. Because if he had a beginning from an infinitesimal perspective, then he must also have existed infinitudinally. Because if that is not the case, if he began somewhere, then there must be something that was infinitesimal before the emergency of his existence. If he's not infinitude enlarged to infinity, then it shows that they are at the edge of where he reaches, there must be something else. And that something else, because it's not curtailed by anything else, would imply that that something else is infinite. It would also imply that the infinitesimality before him is existed infinitesimally without an end. And that is now the oxymoronity of that statement. Because if something else was infinitesimal, then it would not be curtailed by anything else, because irrespective of its infinitesimality, from up to that perspective, it will be encomposed. It would actually originate all power, all presence. What I'm trying to say here is that if intelligence, for example, is infinite, then intelligence is the only existence that there is. And if intelligence is the only reality that we have, then the material sense of reality is an illusion. And if we originated from intelligence, because from a metaphysical perspective, God is intelligence, and we are made in the likeness of that intelligence, which means that we are intellectual or intelligent beings, not from what we see when we stand in front of the mirror, but from who we are as thinkers, as the inner man, the thinker behind what you see when you see Joe Moy on the screen. And that aspect of our intelligence is how we are made in the likeness of our Maker. In my next video, I will continue with that aspect of who we are as intelligence being. In the meantime, continue to like this channel, continue to subscribe, continue to share it with like-minded, and let us discuss, support this channel by simply subscribing, by watching the videos, by making comments in any way you know how, so that we can interact together, so that we can walk together, and so that we can seek intelligence together, so that we can seek understanding together, and that we can walk towards the light together. In the meantime, adios, amigo.